watch our incident scene unfold from the beginning. What do you think about when you first get a call?
When I get notified through the radio about a crash, the first thing I think is I try to evaluate the situation is what's going on.
You're concerned about what time of day it is, where it's located, whether it's a major thoroughfare or a side street somewhere. You have to look at the traffic patterns as to there may be a better way to get there than the most obvious way because you're going to be held up by traffic.
When I first get a call from dispatch, I try to anticipate where the scene is located, what are certain characteristics dealing with that scene that I'll have to handle, and where the vehicles are going to be primarily located once I arrive on scene.
Jacksonville 1312, 1065, signal 4 Romeo.
Jacksonville 1312, go ahead.
It's going to be on Kernan Boulevard, just south of JTV. There are unknown injuries, signal 16 in the right lane. Silver BMW versus unknown.
1312, 104, I'll be 1051 from 4 Acre and Wilson Boulevard.
10451.
In this scene, our first responder is law enforcement. He parks upstream with his lights activated, puts on his safety vest, and checks the victims.
As the fire engine arrives, the first responder moves his vehicle so the engine can park at an angle to protect the scene.
Then the rescue unit arrives and parks just downstream.
The first responder begins to mark the traffic incident management area with cones, starting with the downstream taping, as other law enforcement responders arrive and park upstream.
The road ranger arrives and parks furthest upstream behind law enforcement, and then continues to mark the incident area with cones.
All the responders work together as a team to clear the incident as quickly as possible, investigating the incident, treating victims, and protecting and managing the scene.
With the victims requiring no further medical attention, rescue departs the scene.
Followed by the fire engine.
Towing arrives and parks downstream with assistance of another responder.
Then our first responder repositions his vehicle to reduce the size of the incident management area, so that the travel lanes and the entire scene can be cleared as quickly as possible.
As you've seen, it takes a team working together with a common understanding to safely and effectively manage traffic incidents.
Very important to work with all the responders to the crash, as a team effort.
They need us at times and we need them at times, and it's just a give and take. So everybody works together.
I'm more or less just a piece of the puzzle that has to work together to form a cohesive unit.
Each part of it has a job to do, a specific task, that any break in those links, makes it where you can't deliver effective customer service, patient care, mitigation of incidents.
Yes, it's very important for all the agencies once on a scene to work together so that way we can get the road cleared in a safe and timely manner.
It's real important to have the teamwork with the other agencies because it's you need to have somebody else there to watch your back.
Most definitely. I think teamwork's what it's all about.
Our mock scene focused on one type of incident on one roadway configuration. Now it's time to keep in mind the points we've covered and apply them to different types of conditions. Please refer to the TIM Handbook for detailed information on these and other scenarios.
As we covered in Module 2, a standard order of parking on the scene can help everyone do their respective jobs effectively and safely. To recap, we typically want a fire engine closest to the scene, performing a protective block upstream. Law enforcement, public works, or DOT vehicles, and road rangers are also situated on the approach. EMS and towing or recovery vehicles are on the downstream side of our incident. Parking this way gives us flexibility to accommodate different orders of arrival. Sometimes law enforcement arrives first, sometimes it's fire rescue, and sometimes a road ranger on patrol will be first on scene. Also, keep in mind that not all responding agencies will be present at all incidents. In many cases, just law enforcement and towing will be needed. As responders arrive and leave our scene, some adjustments to the parking arrangement may be required. Be flexible and be willing to work with other responders on the scene. If backing an engine up a few feet or repositioning a patrol car can open another lane to traffic, it benefits everyone's safety. A minor crash or disabled vehicle on the shoulder being managed by a single responder is an incident too. Our basic plan can accommodate events on the shoulder, blocking one lane, multiple lanes, or the entire roadway. Advance warning is particularly important when motorists have a limited view as they approach an incident, especially on a curve. The length of the advance warning is determined by a total stopping distance. This is the distance a driver's vehicle travels and the time it takes him to perceive, react, and stop. The posted speed affects this distance. The faster motorists are traveling, the more distance they need to stop safely. Here's an example of a crash on a curved roadway section, blocking one travel lane. In this case, a car is traveling at 70 miles per hour. The driver will travel 200 feet just to perceive and start reacting to the obstruction, and then he would need 520 feet to stop safely before the incident. Therefore, the total stopping distance in this situation is 720 feet. The warning you give motorists plays a critical role in their ability to safely approach and maneuver around the incident scene. If there is a hill or curve approaching your scene, you should provide a warning before motorists reach the hill or curve. Similarly, conditions like rain, fog, smoke, and ice affect stopping distance, also requiring motorist warning. This can be accomplished with an emergency vehicle, advance warning signs, or cones. Remember one more point about warning drivers upstream of our incident. As traffic starts backing up approaching our scene, the back of the queue that builds can be a dangerous place for secondary crashes. Our scene may be safe, but several hundred yards up the road, motorists may be suddenly confronted with slowing or stopped traffic. If possible, we can position an aero board or a patrol car on the shoulder where that queue forms, and we might be able to prevent some of those secondary crashes, especially on freeways. TIM is not just for major highways. Effective traffic incident management on an arterial or residential street is just as important for your safety. Intersections can be dangerous places for drivers and pedestrians, and consequently, crashes are pretty common there. Let's look at how we might address a crash at a signalized intersection. A crash can occur on the approaches to an intersection or within the intersection itself. In many cases, we can move the vehicles to a nearby parking lot and get out of the road, or just restrict one or two lanes or movements. If we have a right angle type collision in the middle of an intersection, we are probably dealing with injuries or immovable vehicles. Responders are parked to block each approach and to protect the incident scene. Traffic flow is restricted to right turns only by setting up cones. We want to allow at least a 10-foot travel lane whenever possible. Don't forget to coordinate with your jurisdiction's traffic engineers to change traffic signal phasing. In some cities, signal systems can be coordinated to manage traffic on the network of streets surrounding the incident location. If an approach is completely blocked due to an incident, set up warning signs upstream and divert traffic to the nearest upstream intersection. Sometimes we'll have an incident closing one lane on an arterial with driveways. As we park in the proper location, we want to close all driveways as soon as possible to prevent traffic from entering the incident scene and provide an alternate driveway exit if available. If an alternative is not possible, try to position a responder at the driveway exit to inform drivers and facilitate their safe movement. We also need to set up warning signs for approaching motorists. If the incident duration extends for a longer period of time, coordinate with businesses affected and allow driveway traffic to exit under the control of response personnel.
Now let's get back to our responders to wrap up the top 10 things to remember for safe and effective traffic incident management.
Understand other agencies' roles and procedures and work as a team.
Park on the same side of the road as the incident. With the fire engine upstream at an angle closest to the incident, protect the scene and guide traffic away from the incident. Block only as many lanes as needed to protect the scene and guide motorists.
Park all other vehicles in the proper location. Law enforcement behind the fire engine followed by Public Works or DOT. The rescue unit parks downstream closest to the incident with the towing the farthest in front.
Use lighting appropriately. Dim headlights unless they are needed to illuminate the scene at night and direct all lights away from oncoming traffic.
Wear your ANSI-approved Class 2 or 3 safety apparel day and night.
If you have them, use traffic cones and other traffic control devices to protect the scene, warn motorists, and direct them to open travel lanes.
Watch traffic and periodically assess the scene for changes.
Clear travel lanes as soon as possible. Move the incident and all responder vehicles to the shoulder whenever you can.
Reposition your vehicle as needed to make room for other responders and clear travel lanes.
Clear the scene as soon as possible. Leave when you're no longer playing an active role. You can go off scene to a parking lot or other safe location to complete your reports.
And always remember to stay safe.